Today we're making a salt from an acid and a metal carbonate. So our metal carbonate we're using is magnesium carbonate, and that is insoluble. So we're going to be reacting that with an acid, and as it's reacting we need to consider what we're observing and how we know when the reaction is complete, and then we need to consider the steps that are taken so that we can produce a pure dry sample of our salt. So first of all, we need to measure out the acid that we're going to use. So you should have already decided that because we're trying to produce magnesium sulphate, the acid we choose is going to be sulfuric acid. And we are going to measure out 50 centimeters cubed of our acid. Now we'll pour that into our conical flask, and then to our acid we need to add portions of magnesium carbonate and make an observation of what is going on. So I will take my magnesium carbonate here and put a spatula of the magnesium carbonate into my sulfuric acid. So we'll swirl that around. You might possibly be able to make out a few bubbles here and there, which is what we expect when a carbonate is going to react with an acid. So that's our carbon dioxide being formed. So slowly the reaction is then happening. So once our first batch of our carbonate has reacted away, what we then need to do is go and add another spatula. And the same again. So we'll swirl this. Now actually you can see a much better rate of fizzing there. Our technical term being effervescence, and you can hear it. And we'll swirl this until we're sure that no further reaction is happening. So you can see the streams of bubbles in our solution there. What we then need to do is keep adding magnesium carbonate until we know the reaction is finished. So all of our magnesium carbonate reacted away there, but how are we going to know when all the acid has reacted away? So have a little think about that. So how about we keep adding the magnesium carbonate until no more will react. So we can hear and see our effervescence there. So we have a reaction going on. And we need to keep adding spatulas of our carbonate until there's no further reaction. Now you might notice on this last addition that we heard the effervescence, so we knew that some of our carbonate was reacting with the acid because we could hear the fizzing for the carbon dioxide being produced. But look at our mixture now. Every other time we were adding, you could see through the solution afterwards, so it was clear. So what we can say about our solution now, can we see that that's cloudy, or kind of milky colour? So what is then causing that milkiness? So what have we put in there? So remember that our magnesium carbonate was insoluble. So we kept adding it and it reacted with our acid, and we heard and saw the effervescence there. But once we got to the point where all of our acid had been neutralised, any more carbonate that we added would just stay. It would not react away. So the cloudiness here is formed by the unreacted magnesium carbonate that we've put in. So in order to ensure that all our acid reacted, we kept adding the carbonate, observing the effervescence, and we continued until we had added excess magnesium carbonate. So with the term excess, we mean that we added more than we needed to complete the reaction. And we knew we got to the point of completing the reaction because the extra bit has stayed behind, and that's what's causing this to go cloudy. What we now need to do is separate this out. So we have got an insoluble solid and a solution. So have a think about a good separating technique for separating these. So hopefully you've thought about filtration there. So here now we have our funnel and a beaker to collect our filtrate. So we take our filter paper, we fold it in half again, and then we take 3 sections on one side. Can we see 3 sections there? 1 section on the other, and then make that into a cone, and then that is going to go into my funnel, and then we can filter the mixture. So the insoluble excess magnesium carbonate should stay in the top in the filter paper, so that will be our residue, and our solution, which is now just our magnesium sulphate that we have formed, and the water is then going to come through. So we can see that dripping through nicely. Okay, so although we haven't quite finished all our filtering there, we've got plenty of solution at the bottom, as you can see. So I'm going to take my funnel out and then just put it back in the conical flask so that we can continue on with the next stage. So in our solution here, we have our salt and water. So we have managed to filter out our unreacted magnesium carbonate. So we've now got our soluble salt and water. So what do we need to do next in order to separate these two? So what we need to do then is evaporate off the water. So what we are going to do is pour our solution into our evaporating basin, and then we are going to heat this over a Bunsen burner. So let me just move this up a little bit so that you can see what's going on there. Okay, so our evaporating basin is now on our gauze over our Bunsen burner. So we light that on a safety flame, but we want to drive off the water here. So we'll turn it instantly onto a roaring flame there. Now we're trying to make salt crystals. So what we want to do is heat our solution until we see crystals starting to appear at the edges. At that point, we're going to have a saturated solution. So it's got so much of the salt dissolved in it that it can't quite hold it all. And then as we remove a little bit of water, some of the crystals are having to come out of solution. And as we drive off more water, obviously we'll have more crystals forming. At the point where we can see crystals forming, what we then need to do is stop heating and allow our solution to cool and crystallize. So hot solutions can dissolve a lot more solutes than cold solutions. So as the temperature decreases, more and more of the crystals will come out of solution there. So we can go and have a little look into what's going on here. So once I've put the camera down, I'm going to turn the heat down slightly. We don't want to boil this too fast. We just want a steady rate of heating, and so that we can slowly drive off our water, and then we'll keep an eye on it until we can see crystals starting to form at the edge. So having another look over here now, so we've certainly decreased the rate of bubbling quite a lot there. And if you look carefully around the edges of the flask, can you see like little white crystals? We're particularly forming a little layer just around the edge of the surface of the solution now. So this is where we need to stop heating. So our crystals are just starting to form. So we're going to stop heating this. So turn my Bunsen burner off. And then we're going to put our solution now into our crystallizing dish. Once the crystals are in the crystallizing dish, we're going to leave them to cool and crystallize, and then we can see what they look like. So this is still very hot, so I'll have my gloves on here. I'm going to swirl this slightly, so then I can pick up any crystals that were starting to form at the edge, and then I'm pouring that in to my crystallizing dish there. So I can go back on the heatproof mat because it is rather hot.